إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد عجل فرجه استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليك بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولا تكونوا كالذين نسوا الله فأنساهم أنفسهم أولئك هم الفاسقون لا يستوي أصحاب النار وأصحاب الجنة لا يستوي أصحاب النار وأصحاب الجنة أصحاب الجنة هم الفائزون لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله وتلك أمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو العالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو ملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر سبحان الله عما يشركون هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور له الأسماء الحسنى يسبح لله ما في السماوات والأرض يسبح لله ما في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم صدق الله العلي العظيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجه. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We have come 8 days from the beginning of the month of Muharram, and tonight everybody who participate in Azai Imam Hussein, the 8th day of Muharram has passed, and today, especially here in Kansas City and all over the southern part of at least the United States, you can feel the heat is in the middle of the heat. So you can imagine if you count the amount of water you drank from the morning to now to just survive this heat. This heat is different from the heat in Iraq and in Karbala because that's desert and we are not in a desert. So you can imagine the thirst is building up going toward the Ashura. Today wasn't as hard as the Ashura, but it was 8 days of Muharram, and they cut the water since yesterday. So you can imagine that the difficulty that Ahl Bayt Imam Hussein is going through. And traditionally tonight, we read the Marsiya for Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam. You know, Hazrat Abbas, I've been thinking about it. When Imam Hassan became yatim and Hazrat Zahra passed away, they were a child. They were 3, 4 years old, 5 years old. And they lost their mother, obviously. And which mother? Hazrat Zahra, Hazrat Fatima Zahra, Sayyidina Sallallahu Alameen. Not that ordinary mother. Even an ordinary children, an ordinary mother is difficult. It's very difficult. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Amir al-Mu'mineen Hazrat Abbas, which was the closest to Imam Hussein. He opened his eyes to Imam Hussein and closed his eyes to Imam Hussein. He was the companion of Imam Hussein. In certain ways, I think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave this child as a gift to Imam Hussein to have a companion, has a brother, and Hazrat Abbas was the most faithful person to Imam Hussein from the beginning to the end. And in many ways, closest to what Amir al-Mu'mineen was, and that in shuja'at, in bravery, in faithfulness, and it was a gift to Imam Hussein. So losing Hazrat Abbas wasn't easy for Imam Hussein. And that's why he said that my back was broken. And only people who have lost a close friend, a close brother, and a companion can feel that. We all can say, well, we understand, but we don't. Definitely we don't. I guarantee you that. Only a mother who have lost a child knows how difficult that situation is. So, again, when we came this long, 20 years or so, close to 20 years, to establish a center for some place that people can come and commemorate the Muharram and the Karbala and Ashura and Tasu'a, we don't lose the fact that Sahib Azza is Hazrat Fatima Zahra and his grandson Abu Saleh Mahdi, and inshallah he will accept our azadari, he will accept our contribution and make shafaat for us when we need shafaat the most, in the last, when we take our last breath, and accept our azadari, and we're all Khadim Imam Hussein, and in many ways we can contribute and make the center better for anybody. That's our duty, and inshallah gets accepted. Sadaqallahu al-Aliyyul Azim. اللهم صل على
محمد وآل محمد. بر محمد وآل محمد صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. For the love of the Holy Prophet and his holy family, please recite the second salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. For the reappearance of our awaited Savior, please recite the third salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajah. We continue on this journey with Imam Hussein alayhi salam, who is on his journey of love towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and has reached Karbala. And we have been talking about in this past few days about each of the shaheed. Today we talk about this shaheed, the marsiya that we have, is about the commander of the army of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Even though the army of Imam Hussein alayhi salam was very small, 72, give or take a few men, and even with that army, Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam, he had arranged the people in such a way that they could face insurmountable odds. And a time comes when this army is no more, and the commander himself has to go into battle. So the poets here describes the majesty of Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam. So in each of the verses, they describe the scene, and you can transfer yourself to the land of Karbala and see this with your own eyes. Bar Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajah. करबला में शान अब्बा से दिलावर देखना, کربلا میں شان عباس سے دلاور دیکھنا، خون میں ڈوبی ہوئی تصویر حیدر دیکھنا، خون میں ڈوبی ہوئی تصویر حیدر دیکھنا، شیر سے بھپرے ہوئے جاتے ہیں دریا کی طرف، دوش پر بکھری ہوئی زلف معمبر دیکھنا، نبض کی رفتار زینب کا مسلسل اضطراب، نبض کی رفتار زینب کا مسلسل اضطراب، دل کی دھڑکن جنبش گیسو اکبر دیکھنا، دل کی دھڑکن جنبش گیسو اکبر دیکھنا، دوش پر اسلام کی عزت نشان فوج حق، مشق ایک سوکھی ہوئی دل کے برابر دیکھنا، مشق ایک سوکھی ہوئی دل کے برابر دیکھنا، راہ کر لی خون کے دریا کا سینہ چیر کر، ایک ہی حملے میں نہر القمہ پر دیکھنا، ایک ہی حملے میں نہر القمہ پر دیکھنا، مشک بھر کر نہر سے باہر نکلنا تشنہ لب، مشک بھر کر نہر سے باہر نکلنا تشنہ لب، خیمہ شبیر کی جانب وہ مڑ کر دیکھنا، خیمہ شبیر کی جانب وہ مڑ کر دیکھنا، دیکھ کر چہرے تصور میں وہ مرجھائے ہوئے، دیکھ کر چہرے تصور میں وہ مرجھائے ہوئے، دور تک پھیلی ہوئی پانی کی چادر دیکھنا، دور تک پھیلی ہوئی پانی کی چادر دیکھنا، ہر طرف سے ہٹ کے وہ مشق سکینہ پر نظر، ہر طرف سے ہٹ کے وہ مشق سکینہ پر نظر، یہ امانت دیکھ کر یلغار لشکر دیکھنا، یہ امانت دیکھ کر یلغار لشکر دیکھنا، تیر پڑتا بے کسوں کی آخری امید پر، تیر پڑتا بے کسوں کی آخری امید پر، خون سے بہتا ہوا پانی زمیں پر دیکھنا، خون سے بہتا ہوا پانی زمیں پر دیکھنا، یک بیک دنیا بدل جانا امید و بیم کی، اپنے بازو دیکھنا قاتل کے خنجر دیکھنا، اپنے بازو دیکھنا قاتل کے خنجر دیکھنا، نجم وہ جانے وفا ہے وہ ایمان وفا، نجم وہ جانے وفا ہے وہ ایمان وفا، یہ علم آتا ہے کس کے خون میں تر دیکھنا، یہ علم آتا ہے کس کے خون میں تر دیکھنا، مشق ایک سوکھی ہوئی دل کے برابر دیکھنا، صلوات اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد۔ جب صدر زی سے گر پڑے عباس با وفا، جنگل سے آئی گریہ زہرا کی بھی صدا، اکبر نے دوڑ کر شہ والا سے یہ کہا، چلیے حضور نہر پر مارے گئے چچا، بے دست دشمنوں نے کیا اس دلیر کو، رو آئیے ترائی میں حیدر کے شیر کو، رو آئیے ترائی میں حیدر کے شیر کو، یہ سن کے پیٹتے ہوئے اٹھے زمین سے شاہ، فرمایا ہے غضب میرے بچے ہوئے تباہ، یہ کیا کہا کہ آنکھوں میں دن ہو گیا سیاہ، مظلوم سے بچھڑ گئے عباس، آہ آہ مدت ہوئی تمام سکینہ کے چین کی، توڑا فلک نے آج کمر کو حسین کی، توڑا فلک نے آج کمر کو حسین کی، یہ کہے کہ سوئے نہر چلے شاہ کربلا، مانند بیت کانپتے تھے شاہ کے دست و پا، امامہ تھا نہ فرق پا نے دوش پر ردا، تصویر وار تھے ہم تنصب تھے مصطفیٰ، مقتل کی خاک سے تنے انور اٹا ہوا، سینہ کھلا ہوا تھا گریباں پھٹا ہوا، سینہ کھلا ہوا تھا گریباں پھٹا ہوا، پہنچے جو ہی ترائی میں بادی دے پورا، دیکھا تپا ہے خاک کو فرزند بو تراب، شانوں پکی نظر تو جگر کو رہی نہ تاب، بس ہائے بھائی کہہ کے گرا وہ فلک جناب، بیکار دست و پا تھے شہ خوش قصال کے، لے آئے لاش تک علی اکبر سنبھال کے، لے آئے لاش تک علی اکبر سنبھال کے، مورا کے خون بھرے ہوئے چہرے پدی صدا، بھیا حسین آیا ہے آواز دو ذرا، ہے ہاتھ دونوں ہاتھ بدن سے ہوئے جدا، بازو کے صدقے ان تیرے شانوں کے محفدہ، بھیا ہمارے ہاتھ تو بیکار ہو گئے، تم ہاتھ کھو کے جعفر تیار ہو گئے، تم ہاتھ کھو کے جعفر تیار ہو گئے، سن کر صدائے حضرت شبیر نامدار، کھولا لہو بھری ہوئی آنکھوں کو ایک بار، سر رکھ کے پائے شے پائے بولا وزیب خار، تشریف آپ لائے زہ عز و افتخار، جی چاہتا ہے یہ کہ نثار حضور ہوں، کس طرح اٹھ کے گرد پھروں چور چور ہوں، کس طرح اٹھ کے گرد پھروں چور چور ہوں، بیٹھے ہیں آپ اور میں لیٹا ہوا، کیا دور ہے حضور اگر بخش دے گناہ، سرشق ہے ضرب گرز سے یا شاہدی پناہ، کروٹ بھی اب تو لے نہیں سکتا ہے خیر خواہ، دکھتے ہیں بولنے میں جراحت پھٹے ہوئے، دیکھے حضور میرے ہے بازو کٹے ہوئے، دیکھے حضور میرے ہے بازو کٹے ہوئے، مورا کے منہ پہ کہنے لگے شاہ خوش قصال، عباس میں کن آنکھوں سے دیکھوں تیرا یہ حال، اس دم بھی ہے تمہیں میرے آداب کا خیال، جب ذبح ہوں گے ہم تو کسے ہوئے گا ملال، صدقے حسین تیرے تنے پاش پاش کے، ایک بار ہم کو گرد تو پھرنے دو لاش کے، ایک بار ہم کو گرد تو پھرنے دو لاش کے، یہ سن کے اس دلیر نے ایک سرد آہ کی، مشکی زپا تڑپ کے بحسرت نگاہ کی، منہ شرم سے چھپا لیا گودی میں شاہ کی، حالت تباہ ہو گئی حیدر کے ماں کی، جب دل کو بے کلی ہو تو کس طرح کل پڑے، زانو پشے کے آنکھوں سے آنسو نکل پڑے، زانو پشے کے آنکھوں سے آنسو نکل پڑے، فرمایا شین کس لیے روتے ہو زار زار، لو اب کچھ اپنا حال کہو تم پہ میں نثار، کیا جی پہ ہے بنی جو تڑپتے ہو بار بار، کی عرض اس جری نے کہ ہے وقت انتظار، آقا سے چھوٹنے کا خلق ہے غلام کو، پاؤں گا اب کہاں شہ گردوں مقام کو، پاؤں گا اب کہاں شہ گردوں مقام کو، یہ کہتے تھے کہ پھر گئی آنکھوں کی پتلیاں، ہچکی کے ساتھ آ گئی سوکھے لبوں پجا، حسرت سے دیکھ کر طرف شاہ انسو جا، دنیا سے کوچ کر گئے ابا سے نوجوان، دنیا سے کوچ کر گئے ابا سے نوجوان، چھوڑا جری نے ساتھ شہ مشرقین کا، ایک غل اٹھا کے مر گیا عاشق حسین کا، ایک غل اٹھا کے مر گیا عاشق حسین کا، صلوات محمد والے محمد۔ گزر گئے تھے کئی دن کے گھر میں آب نہ تھا، گزر گئے تھے کئی دن کے گھر میں آب نہ تھا، مگر حسین سے صابر کو اضطراب نہ تھا، گزر گئے تھے کئی اگر بہشت میں ہوتے نہ کوثر و تسنیم، اگر بہشت میں ہوتے نہ کوثر و تسنیم، تو رونے والوں کی آنکھوں کا پھر جواب نہ تھا، گزر گئے تھے کئی دن کے گھر میں آب نہ تھا، فقط حسین کے بچوں پہ بند تھا پانی، فقط حسین کے بچوں پہ بند تھا پانی، بہت قریب تھی وہ نہر قید آب نہ تھا، گزر گئے تھے کئی دن
جو گھر میں آب نہ تھا. وہ لوگ جمع تھے قتل حسین پر کہ جنہیں، وہ لوگ جمع تھے قتل حسین پر کہ جنہیں خدا سے خوف محمد سے کچھ حجاب نہ تھا. گزر گئے تھے کئی دن کے گھر میں آب نہ تھا. غضب کی جاہ کے دربار میں ستمگر کے، غضب کی جاہ کے دربار میں ستمگر کے کھڑی تھی بنت علی اور کچھ حجاب نہ تھا. گزر گئے تھے کئی دن کہ گھر میں آب نہ تھا. مگر حسین سے صابر کو اضطراب نہ تھا. صلوات بر محمد والے محمد.
محمد وآل محمد صلوات.
اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد. اس کم سنی میں قوت باطل کو دی شکست، اس کم سنی میں قوت باطل کو دی شکست. ارے اصغر کہیں جوان جو ہوتا تو دیکھتے، کہتے تھے شاہ جنگ کا نقشہ تو دیکھتے. موجیں ابھر ابھر کے بلاتی تھی شیر کو، موجیں ابھر ابھر کے بلاتی تھی شیر کو. ارے عباس ملک کے جانب دریا تو دیکھتے، کہتے تھے شاہ جنگ کا نقشہ تو دیکھتے. نازا بہت ہے کعبے کی تعمیر پر خلیل، نازا بہت ہے کعبے کی تعمیر پر خلیل. ارے ترتیب کربلا معلا تو دیکھتے، کہتے تھے شاہ جنگ کا نقشہ تو دیکھتے. مانا علی نے زور سے خیبر اٹھا لیا، مانا علی نے زور سے خیبر اٹھا لیا. ارے ہاتھوں پہ نوجوان کا لاشا تو دیکھتے کہتے تھے شاہ جنگ کا نقشہ تو دیکھتے. صلوات بر محمد والے محمد. صلوات بر محمد والے محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
باواز باقی دیگر صفات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
میرنیس. شبیہ ایمان میں زمان کھینچتے ہیں تصور میں تصویر جان کھینچتے ہیں. جگہ مول لی ہے مزاروں کی خاطر جگہ مول لی ہے مزاروں کی خاطر زمیں پہ شہیدی نشان کھینچتے ہیں. شبیہ امام زمان کھینچتے ہیں. ادھر خشک ہے فاطمہ کی زراعت وہ کھیتوں میں آب رواں کھینچتے ہیں. شبیہ امام میں زمان کھینچتے ہیں. عجب ہے عجب حال ہے دختر فاطمہ کا عجب حال ہے دختر فاطمہ کا ردا سر سے ایزار رواں کھینچتے ہیں. شبیہ امام زمان کھینچتے ہیں. پکارے سکینہ دہائی ہے بابا پکارے سکینہ دہائی ہے بابا ستمگر میری بالیاں کھینچتے ہیں. شبیہ امام زمان کھینچتے ہیں. کہاں بیڑیاں اور کہاں پائے عابد یہ لنگر کہیں ناتواں کھینچتے ہیں. شبیہ امام زمان کھینچتے ہیں. صلوات بر محمد والا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
جزاک اللہ.
Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum. I'm going to be reciting Surah An-Nuh 1 to 10. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna arsalna Nuhan ila qawmihi an anzir qawmaka min qabli an ya'tiyahum adhabun alim. قال يا قوم إني لكم نذير مبين أن اعبدوا الله واتقوه وأطيعون يغفر لكم ذنوبكم ويؤخركم إلى أجل مسمى إن أجل الله وإذا جاء لا يؤخر لو كنتم تعلمون قال ربي إني دعوت قومي ليلا ونهارا فلم يزدهم دعائي إلا فرارا وإني كلما دعوتهم لتغفر لهم جعلوا أصابعهم في آذانهم واستغشوا ثيابهم وأصروا واستكبروا استكبارا ثم إني دعوتهم جهارا ثم إني أعلنت لهم وأسررت لهم إسرارا فقلت استغفروا لكم ربكم إنه كان غفارا.
صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا أقسم بهذا البلد وأنت هل بهذا البلد ووالد وما ولد لقد خلقنا الإنسان في كبد أيحسب أن لن يقدر عليه أحد يقول أهلكت مالا لبدا أيحسب أن لن يره أحد ألم نجعل له عينين ولسانا وشفتين وهديناه النجدين فلاقتحم العقبة وما أدراك ما العقبة فك رقبة أو إطعام ليوم ذي مسغبة يتيما ذا مقربة أو مسكينا ذا متربة ثم كان من الذين آمنوا وتواصوا بالصبر وتواصوا بالمرحمة أولئك أصحاب الميمنة والذين كفروا بآياتنا هم أصحاب المشأمة عليهم نار مؤصدة.
صل على محمد وآل محمد. الحمد لله. بر محمد وآل محمد صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
سورة المباركة الفاتحة. بسم الله صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله صلى الله عليك يا ابن رسول الله روحي وجسمي وأرواح العالمين لك الفداء يا غريب ويا مظلوم كربلاء ثم السلام عليكم يا أهل العزاء الحسين جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته مع الصلوات. أما بعد فقد قال الله سبحانه تبارك وتعالى في كتابه المجيد Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. قالوا ربنا أمتنا اثنتين وأحييتنا اثنتين فاعترفنا بذنوبنا فهل إلى خروج من سبيل صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
These are verses in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about human beings. They shall say, this is talking about human beings, and they will turn to Allah and they will say this to Allah. They will talk with Allah. What will they say? قالوا ربنا, O our Lord, أمتنا اثنتين, you did us cause to die twice. We have died twice, Ya Allah. وَأَحْيَيْتَنَا اثْنَتَيْنِ, and you made us live twice. فَاعْتَرَفْنَا بِذُنُوبِنَا, we also confess that we have made a lot of sins. فَهَلْ إِلَىٰ خُرُوجٍ مِّن سَبِيلٍ, therefore is there any way that we can get out of this situation? Do we have to wait till we are in that position where we have to turn to Allah and ask us to forgive us? As we mentioned, these are the time for us, the time that we are waiting for the inevitable. The inevitable will happen. So these verses are telling us you will come and you will ask, you have died twice and you have lived twice. We'll come back to that. Then there is another verse, very interesting also. وَيَوْمَ نَحْشُرُ مِنْ كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ فَوْجًا مِّمَّنْ يُكَذِّبُ بِآيَاتِنَا فَهُمْ يُوزَعُونَ. It's again talking about the same situation. And on that day, when we shall gather from every community, from every people, what? A party from among them, not all of them, only a party of them, a few of them, who are what? Who rejected our signs. And they shall be formed into groups. And here is again talking about those who behaved in such a way that now they are being raised. We shall gather them, we shall bring them back. And then there is a third verses of the Quran. I'm reading this because they're very much related to what I'm about to talk on this subject. ذَلِكَ يَوْمٍ مَجْمُوعٌ لَهُ النَّاسُ وَذَلِكَ يَوْمٌ مَشْهُودٌ. This is the day for which mankind shall be gathered together, and this will be the day that shall be witnessed by all. Now, these are the problems. Sometimes people think, this is the tendency this day, and one of the signs of Akhir Zaman, as we said, was people say, we don't need any of these so-called scholars. We have got enough intellect. We have knowledge. We can think ourselves. We can read the Quran, and we can make our own decisions. We don't need any guidance. We can read the Quran. These three verses are very interesting. Just take these three verses. One verse is talking about on that day we shall gather a group of people and we shall raise them, a group of them. Okay. The second verse it says, on this day we shall get all of you. Therefore, those who are enemies of Islam will immediately say, there is a contradiction here. On one place it says on that day we will raise all of them. Another place it says we will raise only a group of them. So there is a contradiction here. And then there is a third place which you read at the beginning. There they will say, you made us die 2 times and you made us live 2 times. What a contradiction. You live once, you die, and that's it. How come you die and then you live and then you die and then you live? How can that be? See? So every person cannot just in the Quran and see we can read. We know very good Arabic, for example. They went to Arabic school for 4 years. They learned Arabic for 4 years. And those now they know so much that they can understand everything in the Quran. Doesn't work that way. You have to go through the guide. That's what we have been saying all along. Therefore, why are these 3 verses and what has happened? If you read one salawat, we'll briefly talk about that.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
For those, as a matter of fact, one of the books was here. And when I was sitting one of these days, I said, what is just look at it. I was looking at that book and talking about Raj'a. And this is from, I'll assume is from Ahlul Shia, from us. And he was mentioning about the 12 Imam and all the people were denying everything. But when he came to Raj'a, he said Raj'a is not part of our faith. And the book is there. However, see, Raj'a is not, Muslims may not accept them and they stay Muslim. Like Muslims do not accept Imamat and they don't accept justice of Allah. We accept all the 5. So we are Ahlul Shia wal Jama'ah, those who are the 12ers. They accept that the usul are 5. Tawheed, Nabuwat, Imamat, Justice, and Qayamat. 5. Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, when it comes to Imamat and Adl, they don't accept it. For them, it's only 3, which is that, okay, they are Muslims. But for one to be a follower of Mazhab of Ahlul Bayt, we have 5. By the same token, if you are the follower of Mazhab of Ahlul Bayt, the concept of Raj'a is there. You don't accept it, you are a very good Muslim. You are not a follower of Mazhab of Ahlul Bayt. It's as simple as that. This is the reason why it becomes important we mention and talk about the Raj'a, so that those who attend here can understand that there is this something. So here, that verse in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about, there is only a group of people who will be raised. That refers to Raj'a, Qiyamate Sughra. In Qiyamate Sughra, as we shall soon talk about it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will raise, we mentioned yesterday, when those signs happen, and when the beginning of the end comes forward, that is when we are now moving towards Qiyamah, the end of this world. The beginning of this whole system that we know of is going to end. The Raj'a is the Raj'a in Arabic roughly means return, coming back. So that verse in which it is said that Allah says, I will raise only a group of them, that is Raj'a. And then there is another group when he says, I am going to raise all of you. That's Qiyamah. So there is no contradiction. And the first verse which I read was, they will say, we have lived twice, you have died twice, and you have lived twice. What does it mean? It means the death will die, and then will come Raj'a, that's living, then will die again, then will come Qiyamah. See? So these 3 verses, if you look at them together, you understand. And this is the teaching from Ahlul Bayt, not anyone. Therefore, those who left the message and the teaching of Ahlul Bayt will tell you that for them, there is no Raj'a. But for us, Raj'a is very, very important. And for what will happen during Raj'a, as I mentioned yesterday, there were those signs which, when they happen, will be like very, very close. to the beginning of Raj'a. As a matter of fact, those are now Raj'a is coming in. And when that happens, then, as we said, the Imam of the time, Hazrat Hujjat ibn al-Hasan, will appear. And then Nabi Isa will also appear. And it is this time that now Raj'a is. So what is Raj'a? Raj'a is that time when now those people who had died and who genuinely wished that if they only could survive and join the Imam of the time, they would join the Imam. So it is said they are the people who now will be brought back to life. Not everybody, as we said. That's what the Quran says. Only a group of people. Those who wish to be with the Imam will join the Imam. Number one. Then there is a second group. That group of people who were martyred in the way of Allah, they were all martyred and killed. They will all be brought back. And those who oppressed them, who killed them, who did all the madhalim, they will also come back. And this is what Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam, on the night of Ashur, after he had tested, after he had told everybody, listen, tomorrow is the time of death, martyrdom. I'm very happy you have been with me. You have served. And now is the time for you to make your final decision. You may go away if you want to go away. And I am removing bay'ah from you. And you are not obliged. There's no obligation. I am removing this. If you want to go away. I'll let you go for whatever reason. Then, because some people would feel like shame, shy, how can I leave him? Say, put off the lights. The candles are all light. So that in darkness, people can go. And there are people who left. And they went. Now when the lights are put, so these are now the ones committed. They are going to be martyred. Then Imam Hussein told them, don't think that your efforts in this world to serve Allah have gone in vain. They haven't gone in vain. That there is going to be the time. That's why Imam mentions now Raj'a. There is going to be a time when you all will come back, and so those who have oppressed will come back. And that will be the justice of Allah at that time. You will deal with them. So it is said then, according to the tradition, Yazid ibn Muawiyah ibn Abu Sufyan, Shimr ibn Zuljawshan, Huli, the rest of them, all those oppressors, and the oppressors of the later time, all those people who suffered in the hands of these people, those will be the people. Therefore, there will be these groups of people. Group number one, those who genuinely wanted to be with the Imam of the time, they will come to join the Imam. Number two is those who suffered in the way of Allah. They were mazloom. They will all be brought back. And else, who else will come back? The zalim, those who oppress them, they will come back. And what will happen then? There will be justice, which you don't have time to go into all that. So this is the beginning of Raj'a. And when that happens, the Imam therefore will appear. Now, without going into the details, there are three things that the Quran talks about. And those are the three things which will be found combined, talking about three different personalities, two prophets and one another individual. The characteristics and the strength and the powers that Allah had given to them, they will appear in the Imam of the time, Hazrat Hujjat ibn Hassan. If you read one salawat, I'll tell you what it is. There will be three things, major things. The first one is struggle. struggled. When the Imam comes, what is he coming to do? To replace the system that was there, to bring a system of justice and equity. And the society in which that time will be living will be absolutely corrupt. There's no justice, there's no equity, there's oppression, and therefore the Imam is coming to replace that system. Therefore, he will have the same characteristics that Prophet Musa had. And you'll see therefore a lot of things that are related with Prophet Musa in the Quran. Quran is not a book of story. Quran is a book of guidance. It especially tells us about the Ummah and the representative of Allah during the time of our Prophet Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his representatives. And that includes the Imam of the time. The way Nabi Musa, Fir'aun wanted to destroy him, make sure he's not going to be born. The same thing applied to Nabi Musa. All the efforts that were made to hide the identity of Nabi Musa when he was young, the same thing happened through the Imam of the time. And the struggle that Nabi Musa had to go through to face Fir'aun and ultimately overcome him, those will be the same obstacles that the Imam of the time will face. It's not going to be easy to establish, to remove one system and put, and that's why we have mentioned that in front of him will be two things. Sufyani, whom I didn't mention yesterday, and second is we mentioned that, and that is, what is it? Who can tell me? The second. And Ajuj Majuj, yes. These are all the struggles that Imam will have to go through. And then that is the time, yes, Shaitan will appear in person. That Shaitan was so coward. Shaitan is very coward. The way he's been working was behind the scenes. At this moment, he will appear. And this is the time where Nabi Isa and Hazrat Muhammad al-Mahdi will work together, and ultimately Nabi Isa will help to destroy and kill these people, these evil forces. And the Imam of the time will kill Shaitan. But that will take a lot of struggle. That's why there is something which is mentioned. The struggle of our 12th Imam is the same struggle that Nabi Musa went through. However, then there is something else. There is stability, power, strength. Allah mentions this in the case of Nabi Sulaiman. If you look at what does Allah says, that I have not given anyone the same kingdom as I have given to you. Look at the powers of Nabi Sulaiman. He is here one moment, he can be another place any other time. He has complete control over whom? Animals, jinn, all the creation of Allah, wherever they were, he has control over them. He has control over birds. Remember that conversation that he has with Hudhud. Why do you think these are mentioned in the Quran? Just to tell us a story, to prepare us that these are the powers which I have given to none. It will be given to the Imam of the time. So Hazrat Hujjat, when he comes, that will be his strength. That he will have that power. He will use it, bi'iznillah, as we have said. How? Like Nabi Isa. See the powers of Nabi Isa? Made people who are sick. He made what? Well, those who had died. This is the Quran. He made them alive. These are the powers that will exist during the time of the Imam of the time. He will have that kind of authority, the way Nabi Sulaiman had. And ultimately, the way Nabi Sulaiman finally died, the Imam of the time also will die. But not before he has established a system of which we'll slightly talk about it. Then the third thing is the knowledge. the knowledge of the Imam will be such as that of Nabi, of this Khizr, who was Nabi or Nabi. Again is mentioned in the Quran. The prophet of the time, Musa Kalimullah, that prophet who could talk with Allah one by one. That's what called Kalimullah. That prophet, with all the knowledge that he had, what does the Quran say? There are certain things that he does not know. And who knows it? Khizr. Therefore, the Imam of the time will have the knowledge that of Khizr, meaning all the hidden. There will be some knowledge which will be hidden from him, which Allah keeps it only for himself. He will be so knowledgeable, and that is where technology will take a new turn. When people think that Imam will come with a sword, and there is so much technology, it will be distressing. Hadith say will come with a sword, with Zulfikar. What they do not know is what that Zulfikar is. The tech, and this is what Imam Hassan alayhi salatu wasalam, when he made a sulh with Muawiyah ibn Abu Sufyan. And when Muawiyah came on the mimbar and the son of Rasul was sitting down, and when he said all the things that he wanted to say, and Imam Hassan listened to him all the time. And when he finished, he said, can I also be allowed to say something? Muawiyah said, don't let him. You don't know him. The people said, what can he do? Look at our army. We have all the soldiers with open swords here. If he says anything, we'll chop off his head. Don't worry. Let him speak what you want to speak. And there is that famous sermon of Imam Hassan that we don't have time to go into that sermon. I'll mention only one part of it. Then he said, you know, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had wanted this world to be a paradise, a shadow of the paradise that you're going to live, and if this ummah had followed the instructions of the Prophet, and if my father Ali had been put in the place in which he should have been, you know what would have happened? There is so much of wealth that is hidden, and there are so many resources that my father, with the knowledge that Allah had given him and the authority, he would have brought out all those resources on the surface of this earth. And this ummah would not suffer the way suffering today, and will suffer for a long time to come. But this ummah did what they did. Therefore, he said, you see, when the Imam of the time, when the Hujjah comes, that is what is going to happen. That's why it is said at that time, people will suddenly begin to think differently from what they had been thinking before. The human as I said, this human being has been endowed with so many hidden powers. There's so many inside us that need to be triggered, that need to be activated. But unfortunately, we don't. And that's what there are some human beings. The way they have been elevated, they can even tell you when they are going to die. And you can see this in these people in Karbala, for example. Habib ibn Mazahir talking with his friends. They talk each other and they say, Ammar says, how is he going to be killed? Amir Mu'min tells some of them who are capable of taking this information. That is the time when, therefore, the Imam of the time, there will be technology would have gone so much advanced. A lot of this hidden wealth will come out, and it will be developed. There will be so much stability in the community. And in homes. Today is a different story. That time will come where it will be difficult to find people to give homes to them, because a lot of people would have attained a status where they earn their own, and there's so much wealth. One, security. People will be able to travel all over the world in a very easy way, easier than what they are doing today. Why? Because of the speed, the way in which Imam will have control over speed and space, that there is going to be a lot of ease and comfort. Like what the Bible says, and this is mentioned in the Bible also, they are mentioned about Isa, that this will be the time when the domesticated animals will sit with the wild animals, that the camels will sit with the lions. Why? There will be the change of system in which everybody lives in a wealthy situation. And this is where, if you get time, you read why if I don't have time again to go into those portions. What will be the situation of people? They say Mu'min now will have their justice. People will now have honor. Muslims will have honor. There will be that now what? That kind of only one religion, and that is Islam. This is Allah has said in the Quran. Surah Fatah also, if you read, Allah says, promises there will come a time that there is going to be a society of justice. And Imam alayhi salatu wasalam will rule. And when it is mentioned about this 313, it's mentioned. By some account, the world will be divided into 313 regions. And each one of them will represent the Imam of the time. And the choice will be made by the Imam of the time. That's why sometimes you say it is difficult. When Imam does come, some people will not like it. Those who have been benefiting from this corrupt system, and when the Imam comes and their benefits begin to dwindle, not that they will starve. This is the time of justice. No one is going to die of starvation, but may not have the status that they had before. And with some, maybe, I just imagine, that one who was mocking like you and you always used to kick him, do this, do that, may become your boss. And now you have to serve him. This is the reason Imam say is not coming until we establish and we try to do the best that we can do. These are the things that will happen. And there is going to be some people say this is just maybe not. I don't know. But it says that the Imam will rule. For how long? We do not know. And then he will be martyred. And because martyrdom is there for all the Imams. He will be, and he said this is the time when Imam Hussein would bury him. And that is what they say. Some people don't believe in this, but this is what is written, and this is what we have to think about. All the Imams, if those who had been the justices, ordinary people, Allah called them back. So by the same token, all the Imams of Ahlul Bayt will also come back. And each one of them will have the time and period for which they shall rule. Very little is written about this. If you ask more details, it's difficult to find more details on this. But this is what very briefly will happen during the time of the Raj'ah. And justice will be there, peace and tranquility will be there, prosperity will be there, abundance will be there, and this will continue up to the time finally this period also will come to an end. How? When? Allah knows that. One of the things that we do know is إذا زلزلت الأرض زلزالها وأخرجت الأرض أثقالها وقال الإنسان ما لها يومئذ تحدث أخبارها بأن ربك أوحالها يومئذ يصل الناس اشتاتا ليروا أعمالهم فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة خيرا يراه ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شرا يراه. That will come, therefore, the time when the system that exists will suddenly crumble. You have seen what has happened in Turkey, just and other places. When it happens, you see what happens. Therefore, it says, when it will happen, it will be so shadid, so intense, that those who live will ask, what is happening? And at that time, see the knowledge, the earth, and will say, have got a message for you today. We have been given this message by Allah, and we are conveying this message to you, that now is the day of accountability. فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَى. Even if a small atom of goodness that you have done, you shall see. And whatever evil that you have done, even a small minority, you shall see it. And with that ends the system. And Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salatu wasalam, when he was asked, yes, when that finally it happens, everything that has been created will be destroyed, it will be totally removed. There will be nothing. Even the angels will not be there. Even Malakul Maut himself will finally meet his end. Imam Sajjad says at that time there will be Allah and Allah and Allah. And then when he will decide, that we do not know. But then that's where the first verses which I read, this will be the people when they do come back. What will they say? This is now the day of Qiyamah. What will they say? I read at the beginning of this lecture here that there are these people who say, Allah, you made us die twice. You made us live twice. Now we are in front of you. We have made all these mistakes. Forgive us. And how? Dying twice, as I said. There is one death that is here. Then there is coming back in Raj'ah. There is another death in Raj'ah. And then finally, there is life. And that is the day of Qiyamah. Tomorrow, if we get time, we will briefly talk about certain things about Qiyamah. What are these things? This is the Munajat. Again, you must have read this on the night of Shahad of Amirul Mu'mineen. That Munajat, which is very famous. Every time you go for ziyarat, you will read that. And that is the 8 things Imam mentions of what is going to happen and prepares. And say, that's why I say, Ya Allah, save us from those 8 things. That will be, inshallah, tomorrow. Before we start tonight's Masaib, I must thank the community and each one of you, every single one of you, for being so kind, so generous, so polite, so hospitable in every respect, that it has made my life very good here. That I will have a reason to turn to the Imam and say, Ya Imam, fulfill the wishes of all these mu'mineen. Every mu'mineen is going through difficulties. If there is a domestic problem, if there is a family problem, if there is an economic, whatever problems that they may go into, Ya Imam, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive mu'mineen here and everywhere. And keep this community together in these times of difficulties. Believe me or not, anytime I go to other places, I quote this community here. I say, if there are to be problems, they should be in this community. Because there's so many cultures, so many languages. And then I tell them that among all that, there is also a Swahili-speaking African. I am an African by birth. And I speak Swahili, which is an African language. Yes, I also speak Gujarati. Yes, I also speak Kutchi. Yes, I also understand and a bit stumble here and there with Urdu. But essentially, I am a Swahili speaker. And this is something which is unique with Imam. And therefore, when you pray, also pray for me the way I pray for you. And during this time of Azhar, when you are crying for Sayyidul Shuhada, individually, each one of you ask for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make life easy for you and to provide you. It does happen with youths, for example. You ask for something, you don't get it. And you say, I don't get it. You know why? If you did get it, you would go into destruction. What you're asking for, sometimes Allah doesn't give it, is for your own goodness. You don't know now, you'll know it later on. Don't turn away from Allah. Don't turn away from this center. Stick to this center. This is the So tonight is the night of, we sign these to Hazrat Abbas ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib. Three things that happened during the time of Amir al-Mu'minin that's mentioned about this child. One is Amir al-Mu'minin had several children, boys and girls. What was it that, and this is reliable, what was it that he calls his brother and says, "Oh Akid, find out that family, that I can marry in that family a woman from whom I can get a boy"? How would Ali say that he was going to get a boy? There's certain knowledge which you have for a particular reason. Therefore, when Ali was asking for this particular child, it was none than Abbas. Knowing that he was going to have a special assignment. That is why Ali ibn Abi Talib, would, whenever he had anything that was passed, would give away. Ali ibn Abi Talib asking for a child when he had children, he had everything. This was a reason to think about. And because of this, Abbas was born. Number one, Abbas is that person, again we hear in history, during the Battle of Siffin, when the battle is raging, and there comes forward a person, strong, valor, and wearing, covering his face and asking for people to come and fight. That was the time they one by one fought. This person, a young person, look, anyone who came to him, to kill them all. Ultimately, Muawiyah said, "We cannot fight with this person. This is Ali ibn Abi Talib. Ali ibn Abi Talib come forth." No, it's not Ali. He removes the mask. This is Abbas ibn Ali, 13, 14 years old. This is what his history is. And therefore, the third thing that is mentioned is when Amir al-Mu'minin is passing away from this world, he specifically gave all the children in the hands of Imam Hassan. And then again, he called Abbas and called Imam Hussein, specifically said, "Hussein, this is Abbas. Abbas, this is Hussein." The message was clear. And therefore, we don't hear anything more. That Abbas was always in the family, and what he did, two things. Fourth Imam Zainul Abidin, after the events of Karbala, when a son of Abbas comes to him and greets him, he made him sit. He praises, "Your father has done for the sake of Allah so much, oh my son. Do you know what Allah has done to him? Allah has given him a special status in Jannah. He is moving about in the venues of paradise." Our sixth Imam, the ziyarah that is recited for Hazrat Abbas, is coming from the sixth Imam. What does the Imam say that? He mentions and compares him the martyrs of Ahad, martyrs, all those martyrs who were with the Prophet. Third thing, during this time of waiting when the Imam was born and the soldiers of the Khalifa of the time was looking for the Imam, do you know where the Imam was placed for his safe life? The progeny of Abbas ibn Ali. This is the services that Abbas ibn Ali did. Therefore, in Karbala, you hear certain events. One is at the time when Umar ibn Asad forces come there. Shimr wants to attack Imam Hussein, and Imam Hussein asks for a Muharram period of time. They would have attacked, even not waited for a second. But for Abbas, he went forward with other companions of Imam Hussein. When they saw Abbas, they stopped. And Abbas negotiated to get that night. And this is the reason why Shimr ibn Zil-Jawshan called out, "Abbas, you are from our family. I'm your uncle. Come join us." Knowing the status of Abbas was such. And what did Abbas tell him? You're giving me amnesty and my brothers, and there's no amnesty for the child, the son of Rasulullah. Keep this amnesty to yourself. This is Abbas, who, when it became difficult to get water, and he said he went, and they used to show this before when he went to Karbala. Behind the tent, he went to dig a hole, a well. He says, whatever Allah marzi, the water that came out was salty. And most likely that water was used for the family of Ahlul Bayt to do their wuzu. Then on the night of Ashur, when Shimr was coming, Zuhair ibn Qayn, he said, as I said, the only person who can deal with these people is Abbas. Where is Abbas? He's looking for Abbas. He can't find them. Ultimately, he goes, he says, Abbas is sitting surrounded by the children of Ahlul Bayt. So much trust they had in Abbas ibn Ali. He was the pillar of the family. All those children are surrounding him. Zuhair says, Abbas, Hussein, this Shimr has come. You sitting here. He says, look at them. Come. Therefore, when he comes out, say, Abbas then tells him, Shimr, you are motivating me. You think that I am hiding here? Tomorrow, if I get an opportunity, you will see how am I going to fight with these people. Did he get that opportunity? No. Therefore, when everybody had been martyred, he comes to Imam. Many times he comes to him. He says, give me permission to go. And Imam Hussain would say, wait. Tell Abbas, you are the commander of my force here. Abbas, you are holding on to this alam. This is the flag of authority. Imam Abbas would not say anything, but I would say, maybe it went into his mind, Maula, where is the army left now that I am commander of? Everybody has been martyred. Maybe Imam would reply him, Abbas, so far as you are alive, in my eyes, I have the whole army with me, Abbas. Therefore, it is said there was a tent where they used to keep these containers of water. And Abbas saw some of the children now putting their necks on these vessels just to cool. There's no water left, just to cool themselves. When he saw this, he turns to Imam Hussein and said, allow me to go and get some water for these children. Imam Hussein said, go, get some water for them. So he's about to go. He said, but before you go, also go and bid farewell to your sisters. And he said at that time, he has a conversation with Hazrat Zainab. And they say that when he said, I'm going out in the middle, I said, may Allah bring you back. But father used to say, Zainab, that Zainab, there'll come a time you will have your hijab removed from you. And as a child, I used to say, how can anyone touch my hijab? When I have a brother like Abbas, Abbas, go. May Allah return you back. Abbas goes out. The intention is not to do jihad. The intention is to do jihad al-nafsa. Go when you have all the strength to fight with these people, but the intention is not to fight. The intention is to try and get water for the children. Sakina, it is said, got all the children. Now we'll soon have water. My uncle is going to get water for us. Come, oh children. Come with your vessels. They all come out with their small vessels, waiting for Abbas to go and bring water for them. Abbas ibn Ali goes to the battlefield. The army of Yazid, 4,000 people are guarding the river so that no one should be able to get water from the camp of Imam Hussein. The brave Abbas is such that when he came there, they all ran away and Abbas went right into the river. He took his vessel, filled it with water. And then he came out, and it is said, those who write Marcia say, Abbas looked at the water and told himself, I will not drink this water. If the daughter of Fatima to Zahra and the children of Fatima to Zahra are all thirsty, how can I drink this water? He did not drink even a drop of water. Now Abbas's attention is to get this water to the cave of Sayyid Shuhada. Umar ibn Saad called out, oh my forces, if this water gets into the camp of Hussein, you will have difficulty fighting with them tomorrow or now. Hussein gets this water, it will be difficult, despite the fact that all of his people have been martyred. Make sure this water doesn't get to the camp. Abbas's attention now towards the camp. Enemies hide from behind and from all sides. As he passed through one of the palm trees, an enemy is hiding from behind as a sword, a long sword that he uses, and he cuts the arm of Ali ibn Abi Talib's son. Those children who had been washing the alam was all the time straight, and suddenly they saw that alam leaning down. Abbas would not let that alam fall. He stuck onto it. He went forward. They cut his second arm also. Now Abbas is trying to control himself on the horse. Omar ibn Saad sends his slave. He comes with a club, hits it on the head of Abbas. The son of Abbas, the son of Ali, falls from the horse onto the ground. There is a Zakir who used to read the Masaib of Abbas every night like this. One night he saw Hazrat Abbas in his dreams. He say, oh Zakir, you're reading everything, but there is one musibah that you are not aware of. He asked, oh Maula, what is it? He said, all those martyrs who fell from their horses had their hands, so as they fell down, they stood, they controlled their fall. As for me, I did not have my head. My body was full of arrows. I fell in that stage. And they say the body of Abbas remained stable for time on the arrows that had hit him. Abbas, whereas other martyrs would call Imam Hussein for help, Abbas did not call him for help. He only said, my last salams to you, oh, the son of Rasulullah. Imam Hussein went towards the battlefield. He came to see Abbas, that Abbas whom his father had handed it to Hussein, that Abbas who had spent his entire 32 years of his life in service of Imam Hussein, the Imam of the time, that Abbas who a few minutes ago was the supporter, the guard of Imam Hussein, was now lying on the ground. Imam Hussein sat next to him. Abbas looked at Imam, bid him farewell. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Imam Hussein said something which has gone in the annals of history. Abbas, Abbas, your death has broken my backbone. Abbas, you have broken my backbone. Now, I do not see any way to get out of this situation. Abbas had made one wasiyah. Maula, do not take my body back to the Khaima. Two reasons are given. One is the state of body was such and it would be very difficult for 57 years Sayyid ibn Ali to carry him. The second reason was, if this body is taken there, what will happen to Zainab? How would Kulthum see this? Therefore, Imam Hussein went, left Abbas, and one thing which happened, he lowered the alam. Meaning, now the Alamdar is no more there. Now the battle of Hussein has come to an end. The children are waiting for Abbas to come and bring them water. Imam Hussein comes alone. Sakina, the daughter of Imam Hussein, looks at her father. She understands what has happened. She tells the children, drop your vessels. My uncle is not going to come back. Imam read one Marcia. Up to today, Abbas, your fear made my enemy sleep. Abbas, my children, my family was sleeping tonight well with you around. Abbas, from now onwards, my enemies will sleep peacefully. My family will spend nights thinking of you. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Matame Hussein.
Ya Hussein, mara gaya دریا پہ جو شہدائے سکینہ شہرگ سے صدا آتی رہی ہائے سکینہ ہائے سکینہ ہائے سکینہ ہائے سکینہ شہ سے کہا عباس نے ڈر ہے مجھے آقا شہ سے کہا عباس نے ڈر ہے مجھے آقا روتی کہیں دریا پہ نہ آ جائے سکینہ ہائے سکینہ ہائے سکینہ ہائے سکینہ ہائے سکینہ لاشے سے صدا آتی تھی ہم بھی نہ پیئیں گے لاشے سے صدا آتی تھی ہم بھی نہ پیئیں گے جب تک تمہیں پانی نہیں مل جائے سکینہ ہائے سکینہ ہائے سکینہ ہائے سکینہ مجبور ہے بازو بھی نہیں تم ہی بتاؤ مجبور ہے بازو بھی نہیں تم ہی بتاؤ امو تمہیں کس طرح سے بہلائے سکینہ ہائے سکینہ ہائے سکینہ ہائے سکینہ زینب نے کہا زیر علم پیٹ کے سر کو زینب نے کہا زیر علم پیٹ کے سر کو ماتم کر مارا گیا سقائے سکینہ ہائے سکینہ ہائے سکینہ ہائے سکینہ یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین
اہل القبور السرور اللهم اغفر كل فقير اللهم اشف كل جار اللهم اشف كل مريض اللهم اشف كل مريض بحق حضرت بیٹا ہے تو علی کا زہرا کی تو دعا ہے شبیر تیرا آقا ام البنین ماں ہے ہر سوئے تو چلن میں حیدر سے نہ جدا ہے کاش تجھ سے قائم دنیا میں بس وفا ہے تیرے علم کو تھامے ہر شخص کہہ رہا ہے مظلوم کربلا کا زینب کا واسطہ ہے پردیس کوئی ایسا پردیس میں نہ اجڑے صدقے میں اس کے جس کا دربار لٹ گیا ہے اس وقت جب کہ زینب دربار میں گئی تھی قاری نمازیوں سے محفل سجی ہوئی تھی ظالم یہ پوچھتا تھا غازی تیرا کہاں ہے بالوں سے منہ چھپائے زینب یہ کہہ رہی تھی تقدیر کے ستائے تیرے در پہ سر جھکائے اشکوں کی التجا ہم غازی تجھے سنائے بیمار سارباں کے زخموں کا واسطہ ہے جتنے بھی خستہ دل ہے مولا شفا وہ پائے دل کی مراد بازی تیرے علم سے پائے روتی ہوئی جو مائیں تیرے علم پہ آئے زہرا کے درد پہلو کا دیتی ہے واسطہ فیضا کی کنیزی میں تیرا بھی نام آئے में गरीबा में जिसका कुर्ता जल गया है, कानों से बालियां भी हाय शिमर ले गया है। इस बेकसी से मौला बची कोई न कर से, कर से अज़ा पे रो कर मेरी दिल ये कह रहा है। जितने भी अश्क मौला तेरे तास पर गिरे हैं, मासूम की कसम ये गाजी फकत तेरे हैं। वो कुछ रकम करूं मैं जो ना रकम हुआ है, अल्फाज वो अदा कर यावर से जो परे हैं।
محمد و آل محمد صلوات. عباسم این نیکو لقا، عباسم این نیکو لقا، پشتم شکستی آخا، میره سپه سالار من، قربانی راه خدا، میره سپه سالار من، قربانی راه خدا. عباسم نیکو لقا، عباسم نیکو لقا، پشتم شکستی آخا، میره سپه سالار من، قربانی راه خدا، میره سپه سالار من، قربانی راه خدا. ای در شجاعت بی نظیر، بودی تو ما را دستگیر، بعد از تو طفلانم اسیر، در این بیابان خطیر، از این غمم و حسرتا، از این غمم و حسرتا، عباسم نیکو لقا، عباسم نیکو لقا، عباسم نیکو لقا، پشتم شکستی آخا، میره سپه سالار من، قربانی راه خدا، میره سپه سالار من، قربانی راه خدا. یاران برفتند از برم، کو آن و فضل و جعفرم، کو نوجوانم اکبرم، کو اصغر مه پیکرم، در بحر خون او کرد شنا، عباسم نیکو لقا، عباسم نیکو لقا، عباسم نیکو لقا، پشتم شکستی آخا، میره سپه سالار من، قربانی راه خدا، میره سپه سالار من، قربانی راه. داغت زد آتش بر دلم، پشتم کمان شد زین علم، اکنون فزون شد مشکلم، ای شاه و شمع محفلم. دائم همی گویم مخواه، دائم همی گویم مخواه، عباسم ای نیکو لقا، عباسم ای نیکو لقا، عباسم ای نیکو لقا. پشتم شکستی یا اخا، میره سپه سالار من، قربانی راه خدا. میره سپه سالار من، قربانی راه. باشد سکین انتظار، گوید عمو آبی بیار، بر لعل شانم گذار، از تشنگی دل بی قرار. عمو بیا عمو بیا، عمو بیا عمو بیا، عباسم ای نیکو لقا، پشتم شکستی یا اخا، عباسم ای نیکو لقا، پشتم شکستی یا اخا. بردی تو مشکی پهر آب، آواری از راه صواب، اهل خیم راز التهاب، کس را نمانده صبر و تاب. گریم به حالت بر ملا، گریم به حالت بر ملا، عباسم ای نیکو لقا، عباسم شکستی آخا، میره سپه سالار من، قربانی راه خدا. میره سپه سالار من، قربانی راه خدا. افتادن تو از اسب، در خیمه کرده تأثیر، از داغ تو برادر، کردی برادرت پیر. من دست هایتم باز از خاک برگرفتم، داغت شکست پشتم، اکنون تو دست من گیر. اینی سلمون لمن سالمکم، و حربون لمن حاربکم، لا یوم القیامه. ای اهل حرم میر علمدار نیامد، ای اهل حرم میر علمدار نیامد، علمدار نیامد، علمدار نیامد. سقای حسین سید و سالار نیامد، سقای حسین سید و سالار نیامد، علمدار نیامد، علمدار نیامد. یا حسین
برای شفای همه مریضان اجماعاً صلوات بلند فرمان محمد. در کلاس عاشقی عباس غوغا می کند، یا عباس. در کلاس عاشقی عباس غوغا می کند، در دل هر عاشقی عباس موا می کند. هر کسی خواهد رود در مکتب عشق حسین، هر کسی خواهد رود در مکتب عشق حسین، ثبت نامش را فقط عباس امضا می کند. اجماعاً صلوات بلند ختم. عباس نازنین من، عباس نازنین من، عباس نازنین من، عباس نازنین من، عباس نازنین. ای ساقی سرمست من، ای ساقی سرمست من، اکنون فتاده نزد من، عباس نازنین من، عباس نازنین من، عباس من، عباس نازنین من، بین حالت غمین من، برخیز بر خیمه ها رویم، برخیز بر خیمه ها رویم، سرباز اولین من، عباس نازنین من، عباس نازنین من، عباس زنین من. ای ساقی سرمست من، اکنون فتاده نزد من، برخیز فنداید یا رخا، از داغ خون بشکستی من، عباس نازنین من، عباس عباس نازنین من، دستن بریده از جفا، از کینه قوم بی حیا، کن یک نظر جان اخا، ای یادگار مرتضی، عباس نازنین من، عباس نازنین من، عباس نین من. ای تشنه لب غریب من، ای یار هم قریب من، باشد حرم در انتظار، ای مهربان حبیب من، عباس نازنین من، عباس عباس نین من، سر لشکر من یا اخا، غم پرور من یا اخا، افتادی به دست در برم، در این زمین پر بلا، عباس نازنین من، عباس عباس نشینین من کن یک نظر تنهای من بنده توی این غمهای من دنیا به چشمم خار و شب ای سرور دلخواه من عباس نازنین من عباس سیناز من ای زینب ای سپای من سرباز با وفای من بشنو زی مرحمت خوا بار دیگر صدای من عباس نازنین من عباس عباس من ای ساقی سرمست من اکنون فتادن از دی من برخیز فدایت یا وخا از داغ خون بشکستی من عباس نازنین من عباس
عباس آتے ہیں عباس آتے ہیں عباس ہلچل ہے فوج شام میں عباس آتے ہیں ہلچل ہے فوج شام تیروں پہ تیر نیزوں پہ نیزے چلاتے ہیں تیروں پہ تیر نیزوں نیزے چلاتے ہیں سب چل ہے فوج شام میں اب کیا وقت پڑ گیا ہے محمد کی آل پر کیا وقت پڑ گیا ہے محمد کی آل پر چادر نہیں ہے چادر نہیں ہے بالوں سے منہ کو چھپاتے ہیں ہلچل ہے فوج شام اصغر کو ماں چھپاتی ہے چھپ چھپ کے گود میں اصغر کو ماں چھپاتی ہے جھک جھک کے گود میں خیموں کو توڑ توڑ کے جب تیر آتے ہیں ہلچل ہے فوج شام میں دل پانی پانی ہوتا ہے بچوں کی پیاس سے دل پانی پانی ہوتا ہے بچوں کا پیاس سے سوکھی زبان ہونٹوں پہ اصغر پھراتے ہیں ہلچل ہے فوج دنیا کو دے دیا ہے سبق یہ حسین نے راہ خدا میں اس طرح سر کو کٹاتے ہیں ہلچل ہے فوج شام میں اللہ نے صبر سید والا کا دیکھیے، رن میں جوان بیٹے کا لاشا اٹھاتے ہیں، ہلچل ہے فوج شام میں عباس آتے ہیں.
یا حسین، یا حسین، یا حسین. جلتے ہوئے خیموں سے زینب کی صدا آئی، عباس کہاں ہو تم؟ جلتے ہوئے خیموں سے زینب کی صدا آئی، عباس کہاں ہو تم؟ جلتے ہوئے خیموں سے زینب کی صدا آئی، عباس کہاں ہو تم؟ جلتے ہوئے خیموں سے زینب کی صدا آئی، عباس کہاں ہو تم؟ ناسے پہ رہی چادر، ناسے پہ رہی چادر، نہ میرا بچا بھائی، عباس کہاں ہو تم؟ جلتے ہوئے خیموں سے زینب کی صدا آئی، عباس کہاں ہو تم؟ جلتے ہوئے خیموں سے زینب کی صدا آئی، عباس کہاں ہو تم؟ عباس چلے خیموں میں غریبوں کے، بھوکے اور پیاسے ہیں، لوٹے ہیں نصیبوں کے، سجاد کو ہوش نہیں، سجاد کو ہوش نہیں، کلثوم ہے گھبرائی، عباس کہاں ہو تم؟ جلتے ہوئے خیموں سے زینب کی صدا آئی، عباس کہاں ہو تم؟ جلتے ہوئے خیموں سے زینب کی صدا آئی، عباس کہاں ہو تم؟ جلتے ہوئے خیموں سے زینب کی صدا آئی، عباس کہاں ہو تم؟ شبیر گلارن میں کئی روز کا پیاسا ہے، پیروں سے ہوا چھلنی مظلوم کا لاشا ہے، نہ کفن ملا اس کو، نہ کفن ملا اس کو، نہ قبر بھی بن پائی، عباس کہاں ہو تم؟ جلتے ہوئے خیموں سے زینب کی صدا آئی، عباس کہاں ہو تم؟ جلتے ہوئے خیموں سے زینب کی صدا آئی، عباس کہاں ہو تم؟ جلتی ہوئی ریتی پہ مظلوم کی لاش پڑی، روتی ہے سکینہ بھی بابا کے پاس کھڑی، بے حال یتیمانہ، بے حال یتیمانہ، غربت کی گھٹا چھائی، عباس کہاں ہو تم؟ جلتے ہوئے خیموں سے زینب کی صدا آئی، عباس کہاں ہو تم؟ جلتے ہوئے خیموں سے زینب کی صدا آئی، عباس کہاں ہو تم؟ جلتے ہوئے خیموں سے زینب کی صدا آئی، عباس کہاں ہو تم؟ کلثوم نے سر پیٹا مقتل میں کھڑے ہو کے اور کانپتے ہاتھوں سے زینب نے رو رو کے دستار امامت کی، دستار امامت کی سجاد کو پہنائی. عباس کہاں ہو تم جلتے ہوئے خیموں سے، زینب کی صدا آئے. عباس کا وہ عابد بیمار تھا، اور چلنے سے جو لاچار تھا، اور شام کا بازار تھا، اور مصطفیٰ کی بیٹیاں مولا حق امام حسن یا حسین، مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین. اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد.
السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله، السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين وابن سيد الوسيين، السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء سيدة النساء العالمين، السلام عليكم سائر الشهداء كربلاء، خصوصا سيدي ومولاي أبا الفضل العباس يا ابن أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء، السلام عليك يا معين الضعفاء والفقراء، السلام عليك يا سلطان يا أبا الحسن يا علي ابن موسى أيها الرضا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا صاحب العصر والزمان، السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن، السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان. عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك. السلام عليك وعلى آبائك الطيبين الطاهرين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
نعرے حیدری.
چلے جائیں.